Hello, everybody. Ooh, since we didn't get to finish the Disneycember trilogy prequel review, we're gonna do it now.
Yeah, our bad people.
We unfortunately skipped it all.
Yeah, I don't know why
Well,
we
the first
skipped
one.
this.
Yeah, I was also kind of wondering that.
Because we
when
did
first
Attack
did
of the
it.
Clones, and then we Revenge of the Sith, but we just went rip and skipped over it.
And then we kind of moved to Force Awakens, and I guess we just kind of forgot. And we were planning on doing Last Jedi, but we just never got around to it.
Okay, so well, now let's correct that mistake. By the way, General CG here and King Nasaru here. So we're all here ready to tear apart this bullshit.
Yes. Oh, and just
Let's
to
go.
let you know, people, Doug Walker will say something at the end that'll piss me off. I'll let you viewers know what it is when we get there.
Yeah, so in the words of Chiz Play, let's jump into this shit.
That is something.
that was good. All right, guys. 3, 2, 1, go.
Brought to you by the people who disrespect their fans.
What can I say about the most despised movie prequel in cinema history? Well, I can say this. Who has two thumbs and totally saw it coming? This guy. That's right. I've been waiting years for these bragging rights, and now it's finally come. I knew from the first trailer that this was gonna be a bad movie. It just came down to logical deduction. Lucas only directed one Star Wars film, and as impressive as it was, it had a lot of problems. The writing was hokey, the acting was stilted, and there's a lot of things that didn't always make sense.
Well, at least
but he had a lot of people give him advice
you can say
and
that about the
limitations, so
entire
it still
original
turned out a good product. Then, years later, after barely directing a thing, this guy is suddenly supposed to direct a masterpiece? Though, in all fairness, even I couldn't guess it'd be this bad. It starts off as Obi-Wan and his master are trying to figure out some sort of political taxation
Okay, can we pause
federation
for a minute, Hiron?
Yes, I paused.
Okay, so here's the thing. Are you gonna say that episodes 5 and 6 are way better compared to episode 4 because George Lucas didn't direct it? Because the hokey dialogue and all that other shit. Excuse me, but wasn't George Lucas also the same guy that made the same scripts for those two movies?
Yes, he still worked on the
He
stories.
did, yeah.
He was still mostly. I'm pretty sure he was still mostly in charge of it. He might have not been directing. Pretty sure he was at least executive producer was saying how it should go, whether he liked it or not, before releasing it on theaters.
And also
there
about the
is
whole
that.
taxation thing, that's a MacGuffin in the plot. The problem was the blockade.
Mm-hmm.
So the taxes aren't really that important since it's a MacGuffin motivation.
The problem is that the Trade Federation is greedy, and they're starting this blockade to get more money from the Naboo people, and they're coming to the Republic for aid against this.
The Trade Federation want to subjugate certain planets for profit and power. They're basically hyper-capitalistic war profiteers in a way.
Or let's put it this way: these capitalist beings are being controlled by Palpatine. He's telling them what to do. So
Yep,
so the
that's
bad
why
guy
they're in league with him.
is
He is promising him, or Newt Gunray and the Trade Federation, that power by doing this.
Yes, and the real plot is that Palpatine wants to have a vote of no confidence against the actual Chancellor, whose name is escaping me right now.
Valorum.
And he wants, thank you, Valorum, and he wants Queen Amidala to vote against him and along with the rest of the Senate, so that they can nominate Palpatine as Chancellor, and it'll be his rise to power.
So as you can see, the plot of the movie isn't that complex. In fact, what we just told you is just from observing the film, not reading the EU at all.
Yeah, if you want to get to the EU, there's a lot more specifics with that, but even those make
All that
more
stuff
sense
is
compared to
optional.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there's even more background stuff if you read the Dark Plagueis novel.
or Cloak of Deception, and even normal Shadowhunter to some extent. So there is that.
Yeah, so if
yeah.
you
Anyway,
yes,
by the way, only for this time, I'm gonna say screw you, Doc Walker, for showing that picture of George Lucas imprisoned in carbonite. That is so disrespectful. I'm not.
I'm gonna be
Honestly,
I'm gonna be saying fuck him more often.
I know you will. Anyway, so okay, shall we get on to this?
all right. I'm at 107.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Stuff that, yeah, like you, I can't figure out either. They tried to help the newly elected child Queen Amidala, which you don't elect queens and queens can't be children, but whatevs.
Okay,
And along the
pause. Iron, can I pause?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, we've had about Queen Amidala, 14 years. Okay, this is an entire different planet and an entire different galaxy. What if the rules are not the same as the ones from here in Earth? I mean, hell, there could be some sort of alien species that, for all we know, they have 10-year-olds being generals of their armies or whatever.
It's
I mean,
also
Not to
not uncommon
mention it's-
for royalty to be crowned king or queen at a young age. And also, not to mention, the Holy Roman Empire in history, they elected their rulers.
Yeah, and not to mention, even if we go by this, there's still cultural relativism of what people consider to be adults. So by our standards, which would be like 18 or 21, it might be younger for a different society.
mhm.
Like, yeah, as I was saying, like Charles V of Spain, he wasn't crowned king of the Romans because of oh, you're next in line. It was an election. So there you go. You're so ignorant of history in the real world, Doug.
That's,
Mhm.
that's not the only thing he's ignorant of.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Oh, and another thing, I find ironic that prequel haters hate so much about a young queen, like not even being an adult, already serving some sort of monarchy, whatever, or ruling it. And then there's in the original trilogy Princess Leia, who also was like, as far as I know, like 15 or 16 years old, young, serving the Senate. So I don't see them bitching about, oh, you're too young to being a
Yeah,
senator.
she was like 19 and she was a senator.
Yeah, she must have been a senator for several years to get to that position that she was in episode 4.
And not to mention, if you guys watched Game of Thrones, like the TV series, I'm not sure how it is in the books. There's one of the lords of the North is like 12, 13 years old, and nobody complained about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just another one of those nitpicking, prequel hating bull crap that we have to suffer with.
Ooh,
Uh,
what's he gonna say about
let's-
Jar Jar?
Oh god. Let's see.
All right, I'm at 119.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
way, they come across the death of comedy, Jar Jar Binks, and the death of acting, Anakin
Oh
Skywalker.
god.
Anakin, it turns out, is a virgin birth. Yeah,
Oh,
can't
fuck.
get any more
Sounds
obvious than
rude.
that. And according to a blood test, apparently the Force is very strong with him. Oh, the amount of people this pissed off. Oh, we'll get to that later. They buy Anakin from one stereotype to deliver him to two other stereotypes, who are in cahoots with a senator named
Are you-
Palpatine, who is secretly the Emperor, who wants to get the Queen to sign the treaty because political stuff. We get it.
All right, I'm gonna
Oh,
pause right there.
God. Jesus Christ. Okay, first thing I'm gonna say before anything, are you really gonna say that a galaxy with different alien species are now all of a sudden they're aliens being stereotypes? Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, he did say that. Well, he did say that about mudflaps and skids from Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
I guess so, but then again, this is just because they're different alien species doesn't mean they're stereotypes.
Yeah, and to be fair against the Transformers 2, they're only doing that based on Earth curses that they found on the internet. So that was just the most common version that applied to their personality.
Yeah, guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wait,
and
what's up?
again, we've already explained what Palpatine's plan was. He's having the Trade Federation create a blockade around Naboo and trying to make the Republic lose confidence in the Chancellor so that he can be voted in as Chancellor.
Exactly, it's not that hard to figure it out. Besides, you need
Even if we put
politics
it in the
to tell how the Republic fell.
the most basic way you can put it is just Palpatine is ordering Trade Federation put a blockade in order to simply become the Supreme Chancellor by using the events of what happens in the planet Naboo. I mean, it's as basic as you could get. All he wants is just to become Supreme Chancellor and then dominate the freaking Republic and then make the Empire. It's fucking
And
obvious.
also, what's wrong with using a blood test to decide?
Oh,
Like the
don't
power
worry,
level.
Aaron. Don't worry. We'll get to the midi-chlorians part because
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
he
I
bits
think he
shit around in
did.
this. I'm pretty
I bet he's.
ready.
I'm pretty sure it's the common argument that he thinks that the midichlorians are the Force, which
Oh,
is not
let's
the.
see.
Which is they paid attention. They already said that it was not the Force. It's just how you channel it.
We'll see. We'll see where he says that. So get ready for that. Aaron,
All right, I'm at 150.
same.
So
go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sword fights, gun fights, space battles, and through all of it, I have no idea what they're fighting for. But who
Well,
cares,
explain
right? In
why.
the original, it was just an evil empire. We didn't really know their politics. They were just kind of evil, so maybe we can just do the same thing here, right? Well, that would work if the characters were the least bit interesting. And by God,
Are you
they
kidding me?
not. My complaints are your complaints. The acting is so wooden, the writing so 5th grade, the effects way too computer generated, the comedy way too
God.
kindergarten, the stereotypes way too offensive.
Compared to the
what
writing
else can I
Europe's
say about
demo
this
reel,
that every other
it's
person on the planet
Shakespearean.
hasn't said? Well, I guess I'll try to defend it a touch, as
All right, I want to stop here. First off, can you not see all the practical effects and sets that are being used right here? He's literally complaining about all that, and literally the Phantom Menace had more practical effects and sets than the entire original trilogy did.
That's basic prequel hating bullshit mindset that they have because ignorant mindset I should say because the only reason why they see the Phantom Menace is purely CGI is because they want to find any whatsoever argument, or should I say nitpick or whatever, to criticize Phantom Menace. They want to bias this shit on the Phantom Menace on purpose. They just want to do it. And the people that are ignorant enough to buy into this shit are gonna do it. Just as with the prequel haters.
I've said this several times, but I just want to hammer this in. For those of you who are complaining about all the CGI Gungans, that huge army, well, how the hell are you going to pull that off with a battle of that scale with just practical effects?
Well, insane. No, and if you think the Gungans is hard, what about the motherfucking droid army? That's even more difficult to do.
If you just
You're going to
use,
tell me you're going to use like hundreds upon hundreds of animatronics?
yes, if you just use that, it's going to waste money and resources, and thus it will no longer be practical.
Yup. Literally.
Oh, seriously.
Well, that's prequel hater bullshit in a nutshell.
All right, I'm at 231. Let's see what he has to say, the quote-unquote positives.
Let's go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Everybody acts like this is the worst thing ever made, and it's not. It's just a bad movie coming off the heels of some of the most popular films ever made.
It's not a bad movie.
As tiring as the constant CG gets in this, there are a lot of very neat landscapes. The worlds are very creative and very beautiful to look at.
And
the sword
they were
fights
made
got
by
a lot better
practical
too.
effects.
Remember when Darth Vader and Obi-Wan were just kind of tapping those light sticks together? Well, now this is a straight-on battle. And it looks amazing. It's still impressive even years later.
Oh, yes.
And whether you see it as a good thing or a
Yes.
bad thing, there is something interesting watching a guy's dreams suddenly come to life with nobody getting in the way. It's a fully realized vision with no filters whatsoever. And as someone that loves film and artists, it's interesting to see. It just so happens it's not very good. But it's still interesting. Was this always planned from the beginning? Probably not, but it's also kind of neat to see the changes he'd want to make, and yeah, what happens when a filmmaker stays away from his craft so long. I can even make a small argument for the midichlorians. It's been proven that a lot of people that seem to have a spiritual essence or a lot of energy, the water in their blood is affected. So in a very slim way, you could kind of make the argument that this is credible and doesn't get in the way of the philosophical and religious aspects, but even I admit it's very, very slim. I'm just trying to offer an interesting point of view. But yeah,
I'm gonna stop right there. Alright, so even in the original trilogy, they hinted at a biological aspect to the Force.
Which part is that?
When Luke Skywalker told Leia that the Force is strong in his family.
Oh, yeah. Indeed. And didn't also Yoda say the Force flows through all living beings?
Yes. Even if they can't, like, directly use it.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised he's actually kind of defending the midichlorians.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, that is surprising. I'll give him that.
Because I thought he would shit on them.
Like many people. Blanket, Lockman, Jeremy Stewart.
Confused Matthew.
And Hello Burrito. And Star Wars only.
You know what's funny is that criticism of the Queen of Naboo actually was from Confused Matthew.
Of course. One of the earliest prequel haters.
You gotta do a reaction to.
I think I am gonna do that at some point.
It would be interesting though. Unfortunately his video is like 50-something minutes long, so you're gonna have to do it on both.
Yeah, I'd have to split it.
Indeed, so.
And at the very least, he doesn't like the Clone Wars movie.
2008 movie. Well, that's something. Anyway, so let's go with Nostalgia Critic.
356.
Okay.
3,
let's go.
2, 1, go.
Like everyone, I thought this was a turd also. The story's too complicated for kids to follow, and the dialogue is too childish for adults to follow. So unlike the original three where it spoke to both, this one speaks to neither. I'm hearing more and more that there are a lot of kids that grew up with this because, hey, they like Jar Jar, they like poop jokes, and they like a lot of the visuals, which is interesting when you watch them grow up and realize that the original 3 films were much better than this. Honestly, the most entertaining thing about this film is the fan reaction. The fact that people waited days in line and then were in such denial when they found out it was bad. They didn't even admit it was bad. They tried to...
What'd you say?
I said pause.
Yeah, we're at 426.
I pause now.
Because
we're at 426.
I have an argument. Because I got an argument for that. Okay. First of all, you're saying that the Phantom Menace is too the dialogue is too childish, too how would I say it, amateurish or something? Appealing for the little kids, not being too how do I say? He claims that the movie was made more for kids than for adults, and that apparently the movie does not apply to doesn't seem to appeal to either kids or adults. I get a better example of a movie that is complicated in terms of its story, and it doesn't appeal to either one. And what movie is that? The Last Jedi. Of course, because that movie is the definition of all of what he said is in The Last Jedi, whereas this movie doesn't have it. Seriously. And when we get to that review, which is going to be after this one, by the way, we're going to see how much of a hypocrite Doug Walker can be. So get ready for that one. So
where are you guys at?
I said 426.
Okay, Kings of 426.
All right, I'm going right there.
Okay.
All right.
So,
3, 2, 1.
Wait, hold on. I got something to say.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, and before he said that the best thing about the Phantom is the fan reaction. Fuck you, man. There's a lot more to the Phantom Menace than just the fan reaction. There's the expansion of the Star Wars universe. the um,
Yeah, it
the
literally opened
expansion
up
of
an entire potential for storytelling with the expanded universe.
yes,
What
and
it
we
did.
also got to see more of the Jedi religion and learn more about Sith.
Indeed. Oh, and we also probably the best actor to portray Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know Alec Guinness is great, but Ewan McGregor, come on. I love him more. I love Obi-Wan more with Ewan McGregor behind it.
And Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn is great.
Oh, that too. Yeah, but I
Okay,
meant more in the term of the three prequels. That's why I didn't mention.
okay, you can go now.
Okay, let's go.
All right, 3, 2, 1,
He's
go.
in line, and then were in such denial when they found out it was bad. They didn't even admit it was bad. They tried to bargain with themselves
God.
and be
You mean
convinced
the
that it
OT
was actually
fanboys that
good,
wanted to
but
watch-
over time, nobody
And now
could
they're
defend
gonna have
the
the same reaction with these
Nobody could
sequel
defend
trilogy.
the racial stereotypes. As much as critics at the time actually
Oh,
tried to
God.
say this was a good movie, yeah, look up the reviews at the time, they tried to defend
Yeah,
it.
yes, it
It
is.
showed in full view the power of
They'll be
hype,
saying the same
and how long
thing
it
about The
took for
Last
so many
Jedi.
people to admit
I
the
wanna
Emperor
talk
has...
about the critics. Iron Paul.
Yeah, I'm
Pause.
paused.
Okay, about the critics. Aren't these the same critics that trashed the original trilogy when they aren't they the same critics that they trashed the original trilogy? Like seriously? Back in
Well,
the
some of
70s
the
and 80s?
well, some of them are like Rotten Tomatoes, but then again, Rotten Tomatoes is biased and worthless.
No, but
Okay, so
I don't mean about oh sorry. What were we gonna say, Aaron?
about saying, according to a lot of websites, it says reception was mixed. Not everyone hated it. And if he's referring
Yeah,
to
indeed.
everyone was in denial about it being bad, oh, you mean years later Plinkett's bullshit came out and brainwashed them?
or to some extent confuse Mantis and other OT
Yeah, all those
fanboys with
people.
stupidity. Yeah, indeed. Oh, but here's what I mean. What I was going to say with the main argument for this point. So, if you remember, guys, I think it was in the fourth podcast of Defending the Prequels, part 4. Dark Zenobia basically told us that critics back then in the 70s and 80s they were trashing anything that was geeky: Star Wars, Star Trek. I think even Back to the Future and Jaws, several of the most geeky movies you can think of.
Because it wasn't cool to be a geek back then.
Yeah, indeed. They were trashing everything at that. It was only until episode 1 came out when they updated the shit out of the reviews of the original trilogy. Actually, if you go and look for any reviews right now about the original trilogy, you'll see that most of them come from the 90s and onwards, praising the shit out of it. But if you try your hardest to find the ones from the 70s and 80s, you'll see that they weren't that positive, actually. So take a look at. So if you're gonna claim that the prequels were hated at launch, no, actually wrong. It was just as hated.
It'd be funny.
Sorry.
It'd be funny if the cycle started again with the prequels, where they were first hated, but now they're being slowly loved, which is kind of happening now.
Yeah, that's beginning to.
You know something interesting, guys? If we compare all 6 Star Wars movies in the terms of how critics criticized them, excluding the re-edits of the OT. I mean, just going by what the original reviews were with the original reviews of the prequels. Revenge of the Sith was actually the highest one, going close to the 80s.
Whoa.
As in 80%. I think it was, I don't remember if it was Rotten Tomatoes or one. I don't remember. But yeah, there were several saying that Revenge of the Sith was actually a damn good movie. Some even said better than Return of the Jedi.
Wow.
So keep that in mind. Yep.
So we should continue.
Yeah. Oh, and small more message. Critics, honestly, you couldn't trust them back then when it came to the Star Wars movies, and you cannot trust them right now. The Star Wars is paying the shit. Yeah. So keep that in mind as well. Anyway, where are you, Aaron?
I'm at 456.
Okay, ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1,
No
go.
clothes. Honestly, in many respects, it's kind of an important movie for that. It shows that artists are flawed and there is no perfect project. Hell, even the original Star Wars had a lot of stilted acting and hokey dialogue. For a lot of fans, this was the bursting of the
Yeah,
bubble,
so.
the ending of the fairy tale, the having to face real life. But there's advantages to that too. It tells people that, hey, you don't have to be perfect to make good stuff. You can learn, you can change things, you can make stuff better. Even your heroes aren't always your heroes. And that's okay, you can be inspired to do better work. If you're one of those people that claim Lucas killed your childhood, you never had a childhood to begin with. Or you're constantly trying to
Well,
stay
that
in
I
it and
agree with.
reject your grown-up world.
what?
Bottom line, he got his vision made. And it sucked,
no worry,
but
Aaron.
at least he got it made exactly how he wanted it. It still did well at the box office, so you can't claim it's a waste of money. But yeah, after years of spin-off books and spin-off games and so much that was be done with the Star Wars universe that Lucas had little involvement with, did
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Pause! Pause right now.
Pause, Iron. Pause.
Yeah, I am paused. That's why I'm saying bullshit.
Okay.
First off, you are a casual Star Wars fan, so to claim that George Lucas has nothing to do with the expanded universe. Oh my god. You're
And
the
we
same
have
guy
seen-
who doesn't know what a Bothan looks like. So
And
you
we
have
have
no
seen
right
videos.
to say that George Lucas had nothing to do with the expanded universe.
And we have video proof that you have shed on the expanded universe.
Yep.
Like there is there's
sorry.
so much evidence that George Lucas was involved in the expanded universe. Nothing in
you
the
don't-
EU was done without his permission.
Hell, you don't even have to go that far in terms of knowing how involved he. Just check his involvement in Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, the 2008 video game. You
Yes,
don't have to,
he had
you don't
so
even
much
have to go
involvement
that
in
far
that.
in terms of years. Seriously.
Palpatine coming back in Dark Empire was done on the order of George Lucas. He told them to bring Palpatine back.
He suggested it. He said if you could bring him back, you had my. And that's what happened.
And Darth Bane was created by George Lucas, and his story was written by Drew Carpenter.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Indeed. Oh, and also the entire multimedia House of the Empire and the Clone Media project were both happened because of George Lucas. Both. And they're two of the biggest multimedia projects, arguably the most popular ones that Star Wars ever did. If you ask me, I think Clone Wars probably number one more popular, followed by Shadows of the Empire, and then The Force Unleashed. That's how I think they were the most popular ones in the years. So I'm sorry, but if you're saying hell, Star Wars Clone Wars 2003, the micro series on Cartoon Network, had super involvement with George Lucas. Both Kenny Tartakovsky and George Lucas were discussing how that would turn out.
You know what's really funny?
I'm listening.
He's using a picture of something from New Jedi Order.
Yes.
And Chewbacca's death in that, spoilers to you people who have not read that.
Oh, don't worry.
That was George Lucas too. He didn't want them to kill off Luke, so he's like, hey, do Chewbacca instead.
Yep. Indeed.
And also, he prevented the writers from having the Yuuzhan Vong be Darkside Force wielders. He didn't like that idea.
Yeah, because originally James Luceno wanted them to be like these ancient Sith.
Yeah, from the three of us that's reading it. I'm already in the fourth, by the way. Reading through Ninja Order and how the Yuuzhan Vong are, let me tell you guys, them not being Sith actually makes them threatening in some way. Actually, them not existing in the Force and their hatred for machines and everything, it truly makes them like a legitimate threat. Like the Jedi and the Jedi in Luke's Ninja Order, they can't easily face them. Like it's not too easy for them to win. Actually, I think if they were Sith, it probably would be a much easier to defeat them because well, you know how Sith go. So the Yuuzhan Vong not being Sith and actually being their own unique thing, I think was a very smart move. To be honest, it truly amped the stakes. By the way, it truly made them a lot more high compared to how they were in the New Republic era under Thrawn and also in the Jedi Academy trilogy, so on and so forth.
Yeah, post Return of the Jedi, they faced a lot of threats that got the Republic screwed almost as much as when they fought Zakuul. And Zakuul brought both the Old Republic and the ancient Sith Empire to its knees.
Ooh. So in
Yep.
conclusion, Doug Walker, you're talking out your ass. You have no right to say what you're saying because you know nothing about the expanded universe.
All right, let's finish
Yep.
this up.
Yes,
That's
let's
right.
finish.
I'm at 556.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
I expect a lot more. Oh yeah. But it's still such an interesting turnout in how strange and awful it is that it's kinda something to analyze. We'll
And
never
yet you
know, was
still
it just
don't
too
get
many
it,
yes
idiot.
men, or was he away from filming
It
too
wasn't.
long,
Oh,
or was he
God, with the
never
yes
really
men.
that
There were no
talented to
yes
begin
men.
with? It was just other people that made it work? It's one of the great mysteries that's fun to speculate. And if you like it, great. I wish I could have such an innocent mind not to see all these offensive stereotypes.
Oh, fuck you.
I'm sure he thought he was doing some sort of clever commentary, but if you don't see how this movie can piss off a lot of people, enjoy it. You're definitely part of a rare minority, and don't let anyone take that away from you. But for me and a lot of other people, it's as if the voices of millions of people cried out in terror, and were suddenly never given their money back.
Shut up.
Okay, he already finished it. So, okay, here's what I want to say about the yes men argument, which a lot of prequel haters used against George Lucas in the prequels. First of all, George Lucas had every right to do whatever he wanted with the movies. He was directing it. He was writing it. He had full creative power over it, full control. It was his movies. It was his universe. He could do whatever he wanted with it, regardless if he had yes or no man. Even if he had yes man tell him or no man tell him what not to do, he can still choose if he wants to do it or not. Like the no man could barely do any effect on what do. If George Lucas has in his mentality, okay, this is how it's how I'm gonna do it, and I know this is the best choice, regardless of what some others do or whatever. Like for example, John Williams was against George Lucas in terms of using a core for dual fates. So imagine dual fates without a core. Can you imagine that, guys?
Yeah, so
I
that's a great example
I
against
don't
your
want
bullshitness.
to.
Yes, man.
That thing's the choir makes it a whole group.
There is a version of Dual Fates without the core in YouTube, so you could look it up if you want. But
And
yeah,
also,
what's up?
more evidence George Lucas wasn't just surrounded by yes men. He
Yeah,
lessened
remember.
Jar Jar in the following movies.
Yes.
Not to mention the in Revenge of the Sith where he had Yoda do his saber throw. That wasn't he didn't want to do that, but some people convinced him to do it. So he wasn't above compromising.
Indeed. Oh, and here's another piece of evidence regarding the or no man situation. Now we have a perfect example of somebody that is making a Star Wars, and even with tons of no man, or even no man telling him what not to do, he's still gonna do it anyway, regardless of what happens. And that movie is, of course, The Last Jedi with Rian Johnson. Because if you guys remember, that movie had Mark Hamill telling Rian Johnson what not to do with Luke Skywalker whatsoever, multiple times told him, and guess what happened? Rian Johnson didn't give a rat's fucking ass. He went with it anyway, and now look at what happened.
And neither did Jar Jar Abrams. Mark Hamill had protests, and Jar Jar Abrams just in Mark Hamill's own word gave him a cookie and told him to go away.
Yep. So even if you have no man working on the movie, the director slash writer, well, in the case of these two, yeah, they were writers as well. They're gonna do whatever the hell they want, no matter who tells them otherwise. The only one that could have dictated something for them to do was Kathleen Kennedy, because she was the one financing everything and whatever. But she didn't do anything when it gets to the sequel trilogies, only with the spin-off. So,
Either that or Bob Iger.
Yes,
yeah, Bob Iger too. Yeah, so I'm sorry, but the yes man argument invalidated, especially now. So screw you, prequel haters.
All right.
And on a
Anything else to say?
side note, I was going to offer a side note, but if you guys want to finish off, I can skip it.
Or
No, do it.
yeah,
King.
do what are you gonna say? I want to hear it.
Okay, so on a side note, you asking for your money back? You're one to talk when you screw people out of $100,000 for your game show, and all you gave us was something that middle schoolers could have done. Where's our money back?
That is something. Yep. So anyway,
any other final words?
Well, no surprise from me from Doc Walker. So
Yep.
that's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, let's finish this so we can finally get to.
So we will see you
Last Jedi.
people around.
We're off to the Last Jedi.
Bye.